Happy Halloween, y'all. Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. It is a Halloween Day episode of Small Talk. It is Small Talk episode 14. I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Ryan Cam. Hope you all make it a great day. We will be talking about some Smallville before we go out trick-or-treating. It's going to be so much fun. But first, I have to introduce my co-host. First up, representing Crystal Lake, from 3D Movie Cinema, is Jacob Collins. Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Yeah, I just killed some teenagers and doing pretty well. Yeah, tonight I might if I catch some people having sex tonight, premarital sex, I might kill some more. So we're fingers crossed, and everything. And I really like this episode of Smallville. So whenever I'm not watching Smallville, I'm out there killing teenagers at Camp Crystal Lake. So, who knows? I hope I like these episodes though. So thank you for having me.
Originally from Minnesota, but representing the state of Kansas, it is Matt Wyatt. Matt, how are you?
Dude, I'm so excited to get into these 3 episodes, especially Rosetta, bro. And the guest star of Christopher Reeve, my boy Superman. And this is me representing the character.
So I should address the elephant in the room. I am not in costume because my costume is still at the Amazon warehouse.
He's
So,
representing Amazon's delivery late fees.
but yeah, but you guys both look great. So thank you so much for that. And I also want to apologize. Last week, last week's episodes were really rough, so I was a lot saltier than I would like to be on this show. So I guess I
You were taking
apologize.
you took the gloves off from last week, bro.
I
You're
was
like, damn, he really hates these episodes.
The way he started it, he went like, "Okay, this episode sucks." Jacob,
He
go.
just went just straight off. Right?
He literally just started with like, "Okay, Jacob, what do you think? Go."
Well, we're waiting.
I was like, "Man, this dude's really being a petty bitch tonight."
well, you all are going to be getting a much more mellow Ryan today because all of these episodes were pretty good, especially Rosetta. But we will cross that bridge when we get to that because it is like I swear these like 3 episodes. It was like after the last three, I was like, I don't
It
know,
was
but
you were like coming out of a nightmare, and now it's finally giving you a good dream.
it was like I was at the end of Shawshank. I was Andy Dufresne. I crawled through the crap known as Suspect and Rush, and it come out clean on the
Andy
other
Dufresne.
side. But without any further ado, let's get into it. It is season 2, episode 16, called Fever.
And now the WB's New Tuesday continues with Smallville.
Next Tuesday, it kills from within.
Dead, she's not breathing.
And it's spreading.
We have to search the house, the outbuildings.
All of his powers won't be enough
We gotta help Mom.
to save his mother.
Time of death, 2:17 a.m.
An all-new Smallville next week on the WB's New Tuesday.
While hiding the spaceship key in the farm's storm cellar, Martha Kent breathes some unknown meteor rock spores, kryptonite, and immediately gets ill. She is sent to Smallville Medical Center under the care of Dr. Helen Bryce, and the results of her blood tests are sent to the Disease Control Agency, DCA. Because DCA agents are coming to inspect the farm and put it under quarantine, Clark and Pete hurry to move the spaceship. Clark inhales some of the spores and also gets sick, weakening him. The DCA agents find the key, so Jonathan Kent must retrieve it from a military base, expecting a miracle to save the lives of Martha and Clark. With Clark having lost his powers, Helen takes a sample of his blood for examination and begins to suspect Clark's secret. Meanwhile, Lex fears losing Helen when she gets an offer to leave Smallville to study medicine at a prestigious hospital on the East Coast. Lex also finds out about Clark's condition and secretly takes Helen's medical file on him. So, yeah, basically, Martha and Clark both get COVID. Like this is pretty much like the COVID episode.
This was
right here.
this was pre-COVID.
But it certainly felt that way. Like stuff was under quarantine. I was like, I'm getting bad flashbacks to March.
Does it feel like it was do you feel like the show was ahead of its time? Like, did they predict the future?
Is this like people bring up the Simpsons all the time, like these moments in the Simpsons, whereas like
Smallville predicted it.
predicted it.
It's also I think it's really funny how like they don't even have the CDC, they had the DCA. I'm like, what? Could they not afford the other C? It's they call it the DCA. I'm like, what? They couldn't
Did
afford
they
the
not
other
have
C?
the rights to call it to set up for disease control, the CDC? Why couldn't
I've
they just
seen
put it
TV
there?
shows that have the CDC in it, and I'm like, What they just like, well, it's too like, which by the way, it's called, look at, it's called the DCA
Yeah.
on a DC show.
Yes.
Did anyone ever pick that up? I'm like, DCA.
Well, maybe a little bit. I mean, I didn't really think about it.
I'm like, that looks a little bit familiar.
I mean, I'm just saying DCC was right there, Disease Control Center. I mean, there that is.
Maybe they couldn't afford the other C, Ryan.
Oh, well, that's a good point.
I guess they couldn't.
But you can't put another C in there.
Jacob, what did you think of the episode?
I thought it was really good. I liked it. I like how it starts out with Mark trying to hide her secret, and then she like buries thing and inhales kryptonite. And I'm like, by the way, I always get this, and there's an episode in season 4 that also deals with a virus. Right, Matt? You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I thought this was that episode. And I'm like, no, this can't be that episode. That's like a way later. And I always get those 2 episodes confused. Because me and Matt have seen the show ahead. And I'm like, that's in season 4. And I'm like, there's no way. Because I've seen, no, there's no way. And I'm like, no,
nope, that's not it.
And I'm like,
nope.
But then I'm glad it wasn't. Like this, yeah, they do, by the way, that storyline twice. Only I think in season 4 it was done better.
But yeah, I agree with you. That was done better in season 4, which I'm really excited to get into in the next 2 seasons. But yeah.
This one plays like that one plays more on the virus aspect, while this one plays more on, the whole Clark is losing his powers and Martha's pregnant. All this, it's more like
it's unraveling. It's unraveling more of the secret with Martha Kent now revealing that she's pregnant and that she kept the key in that ship for months. And she had a good reason, because the one scene that I really loved is that now she's confessing to Jonathan to why she didn't really want to jinx it about her pregnancy. And the second, she hid that key because she was worried that if Clark unlocks the origin of his Kryptonian heritage, that he would leave them.
I was worried if I said it out loud, it would go away.
And that she had an emotional breakdown, and that scene and her performance was absolutely brilliant. And it was an emotional gut punch for me.
I really like that. The fact that, by the way, sorry, I took off my mask because it was muffling my voice. I was sounding like, I shouldn't so I was just like,
you sound like Bane from The Dark Knight Rises.
No one cared who I was until I put on the mask.
But I did want to bring up, like, we praise the hell out of John Schneider, like, on this show, but I swear, like we're just gonna do it some more because he absolutely crushes this episode. Like the scene in the rain where Clark gets off the sofa and he's like, "Where are you going?" And John's like, "I'm not losing my family tonight." And I butchered that quote, but that whole scene, I was just like,
you're paraphrasing. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing, yes, but it was such a good scene.
I'm not going to lose my family, not without a fight. Now, if it takes another miracle, I just have to go out and find one.
It was so
good. Yeah, it was such a good scene. He's out of desperation now. He needs to get that key to the ship because he knows that the ship can actually heal itself. We know that it saved Clark from that kryptonite when Tina Guerrero tied him up with Lana's necklace. And then we know that in the day that the Twister, it healed the ship from Martha because she was at first she was unable to have any like pregnancy, have a baby. But now it healed her, and now she had the ability to have a baby.
Did anyone else think that Clark was being a little selfish whenever he caught the mom, but not the lemonade? Because I was literally, that lemonade fell about the same time she did, and yet Clark saw her fall, but not the lemonade. But yet he had the same time speed. I'm like, you couldn't have caught that, Clark? Really? You couldn't have caught the lemonade whenever you saw the lemonade fall? But yeah,
it was a little odd timing. It was a little odd timing in that moment.
I'm like, Clark.
Maybe Clark was buffering.
Also, wouldn't Martha? I'm like. Yeah, buffering. Would Martha make Clark sick because she's inhaling poison, essentially kryptonite? So, like, if by her going, "Hi, Clark, hi," wouldn't essentially he be in like, like, wouldn't he be able, like, couldn't he be around her because she's inhaling kryptonite, and also Clark inhales it, he's fine. But I'm like, this dude inhaled kryptonite. This dude is literally a toxic. Like the second he inhaled it. Would be like him. He should be walking out there coughing up blood, going, and like Pete's like, "Clark, you okay?" And instead, he's just driving down the road, going, and all of a sudden, they're like,
he was definitely losing all of his strength. We started to see the process that he's slowly getting sick. That it's just a radioactive dust is he inhaling inside the cellar.
He actively
and it was probably, I don't think she could be able to like pass it on when it's in her system. I mean, I'm no doctor, so I can't say. That's just my guess.
I didn't like that Chloe get jealous of because Clark is sick and she made him almost Lana.
That
like,
scene
Lana,
really bugged me. Like that she's still back to trying to get into that love triangle with Clark, especially in that one scene when she's reading the letter that she wrote for Clark while he's unconscious, confessing her love to Clark.
Like the motherfucker would have heard you. Like he would have heard you. Like literally.
But
hey,
that was on
Clark,
but that was on purpose. She wasn't expecting to hear him because she just wanted to practice, because she would not try to do that face to face while he's not unconscious, and it would be too embarrassing for her.
Yeah, I believe I was just like 7 years old. Like, weren't we like 7 episodes ago that where she told Clark in like the season 1 premiere? Season 1 premiere. Season 2 premiere. Oh, it's okay, Clark. You know, it was just like a prom. It was just a kiss.
Well, she was only telling him what he wanted to hear and try to test to see if he has those feelings for her, which he doesn't. And when she said that in the note, like, hey, you know what? I will let you go for now. And if you have these feelings coming back up, then you will come back to me, blah, 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 that type of thing. She wanted to be more patient with Clark.
Clark does not like her.
I know it was very clear. Yeah, but it was very clear
annoying.
that he yelled that he called out her name was Lana while he was unconscious, and that just broke her. I'm like, dude, are you that surprised?
Yeah.
Like he literally is in love with Lana for a while. You still haven't figured that out yet, and you still went back to that whole thing.
Clark does not spank his monkey to you. He spanks his monkey to Lana. Get that through your head, Chloe. When he shoots his heat vision out, he shoots his heat vision out at Lana, not you.
Well, I was going to say last week I made a whole big fuss about how we feel like we regressed with the Klana, and it kind of feels like low-key they kind of regressed with the clacks, or not the clacks, but like the cloax.
Cloax.
He regressed with the cloax too, because like
Clark, it's just Clark, and it just sounds pretty much like Chloe and Clark, blah blah blah.
Writers, pick a space and go with it.
Pick a lane.
They still wanted to drag this out with a love story with Chloe and Clark, Lana love triangle. They're still going on.
Did it feel to you like they didn't really have anything to do with them, and that's why they kept going back to this, because they just don't have nothing to do? Like, they have, look,
the only thing they have left to do with Chloe is to becoming a more of a search engine and give her the news to Clark whenever there's any incident going on in Smallville. That's what she's used for.
Have any of you ever seen Kim Possible, the Disney show?
Yes.
Yeah.
The dude.
Kim Possible, call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
The dude that always gives Kim the missions, that's pretty much Chloe.
Wade. Right.
Really?
Wade. Yeah, she's essentially Wade, except Wade doesn't have Wade is not obsessed with Kim Possible and doesn't want to sleep with Kim Possible.
That's true.
That's very true, yes.
I will say I did like, though, how the DCA shows up. And I like that they were making this a quarantine situation, how they searched the Kemp farm. I just wish they would have did more. But the fact is, I've seen season 4, so I know we're going to get that full quarantine episode. But I kind of wish that they would have did it in this one. That's what I was thinking. Like, that's what me and Ryan.
You wish they would have stretched it out a little bit longer, and tried, because if this was an unknown virus that could potentially be an epidemic, they would be more cautious than usual.
Yeah, like
they would not
just simply
swoop another. Oh, but yeah.
And
I can't wait to get into that one.
Yeah. In this episode, they're like, Lex Luthor's able to go to the hospital whenever he should not even be allowed in the building, because they're like, oh, this way he has an unknown toxin. We need to lock down the building. No one in or out. Instead, Lex Luthor just
don't you think
but
don't you think that the CDC would have locked down that hospital with Martha Kent in the hospital bed?
Lex would never have got into that hospital a second time.
Like, it wouldn't matter if he's a billionaire, unless he owns the place.
Yeah. Also, I like how Clark and Pete just stole the shit. They took the ship and moved it, and then like the car, Clark passes out and gets sick.
Pete was making his own remark, like, "Yeah, I will hit it somewhere, and not even Indiana Jones can find it." Like, are you sure?
Hey, it was only one guy, and this guy was the guy who created Cyberdyne. Okay, I think we can be fine.
Fucking A, Miles, what the hell are you doing, bro?
Lionel Luthor Lionel Luthor didn't go in. Did Lionel and Lex go into Pete's shed too? Or
yes.
No, that was a different.
No. It was Lionel did. Well, Lionel did go into Pete's ship. It was around the time when Lionel still didn't have his sight at the time.
Also, the DCA just seems to just drive by them, the police and all that. When the police stop and see Clark like in the like us, they're heading to his farm and like, hey, what
are you doing
here?
What you're up to, buddy?
They're turning around, Pete. We're fucked. Go.
And there's one, and there's another scene that really just took me off guard when Clark was unconscious and was sick. Helen Bryce was able to extract his DNA, but then it was the big risk now that Jonathan is going to have to tell that Clark is not like everybody else. The moment that you see his blood samples of his DNA, that it's not normal, now she's going to have to keep that secret and keep it between these two, because now that she's in on it.
Also, I find this, I call bullshit on this one scene. All right, I like how Clark gets sick and all that stuff, but there's no way he would have been able to follow Jonathan when he is that sick. Like him just showing up, knocking out the guy. I'm like, bullshit, Clark.
First of all, there's no way first of all, there's no way you can sneak into a government facility without being seen. Like, no way. It's heavily
he doesn't
guarded.
Have his powers. He does not have his powers.
And also,
Jonathan to do it too.
He was able to break in no sweat. Like, dude, that place is a fortress. It would be heavily guarded. There's no way you would have get past that shit.
Yeah. And Ryan, insert this clip, the Bill Maher clip that says, I have questions. What the fuck? Insert that clip right as I'm describing like how impossible that is.
I have a few questions, starting with what the fuck?
Yeah, like Jonathan pretty much Hitman Agent 47's his way into the military base.
He Ethan Hunts his way into their freaking thing. And I'm just like, how are you this is a government facility. You are a farmer from Kansas. How did Jonathan and them get in here? How? There's no way they could have got in there.
It's like Zod said in Man of Steel. Where did you train? On a farm?
Are they ninjas on a farm? Is this like a John Wick farm?
I swear, everyone's peripheral vision in this show is like this. It's like a horse in the Kentucky Derby. No looking left or right.
They totally have a problem with their goddamn peripheral vision.
Lex has no security that can look straight. By the way, we finally see a security guard in Lex's mansion.
Yeah, a security guard actually shows up in this fucking
security
mansion.
Guard, one guy.
Lex Luthor's only worth half of $1 bajillion, so no pressure.
Yeah. Also, I think it's really funny. I do think it is though. Like, how did Jonathan and Clark get into there this week in Unsolved Mysteries? Insert clip.
Yep.
Unsolved Mystery.
That's the one.
How did Jonathan and Clark get into that military base this week on?
And also nobody sees a floating ship in the emergency exit at the parking lot.
Like, dude, you're out in the open. You're literally out in the open. And wouldn't there be a security cam in front of the building? Yeah, but here's
the emergency open.
I know, but wouldn't there be like a security cam in front of the building, and no one will be able to catch that?
Nobody saw it. Was in the parking lot, by the way, and the emergency room entrance. No one saw that freaking thing rise up from the thing.
I mean, couldn't they have gone to the back of the hospital?
Maybe they just want to be as close as possible to Martha. Like, all right, Clark, Martha's in that room right there. Let's try to lift this ship up as far as we can and try to get it in the hospital.
It was very convenient that Clark was able to use Pete as a decoy when the government was able to catch up with that same truck that they escaped in. And they using him as a decoy.
How Pete does not, I would have been shocked that Pete did not go to federal prison for years.
They said he didn't fit the description that they were trying to catch.
I saw a truck and there's a guy speeding and evading the government, but yet, all right, but yeah, I'll believe. I have a hard time believing that. It's like this guy was anyway. But I also I didn't like that Lana was getting jealous. I didn't like that because Lana reads the paper and she goes, oh, what was it? Yeah, Chloe's paper that she wrote about Clark.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like it says that love triangle again. You didn't see it? It was
again.
No, I didn't spot them ever getting jealous.
This is like my main problem with the Rush episode. It's like we have taken 2 steps forward with Klana and 100 steps back, and now we gotta rebuild it when it wasn't entirely necessary. And I'm just sitting there like, if you just asked a simple question, Lana, what was your motives with Chloe that day? Like Clark would have been like, it depends on what your definition of is Lana, and the 2 would have been fine. But no, we're back to the ground floor again.
Stop it. Get some help.
I did like that Jonathan and Martha scene in the hospital after Martha gets better. I thought that the whole scene worked in the hospital after the whole ship, because she dies and then the ship brings her back. I thought that really was well seen. And
well, she was about to die. She was going into cardiac arrest.
I also the doctor taking Clark's blood and the doctor looking at Clark's blood in amazement, and then Lex is walking in. She knows not to tell Lex.
Yeah, she knows now that she can't say anything to anyone because she made a promise to Jonathan. Like, you cannot tell anybody. The moment that you look at that DNA sample on Clark.
Yeah.
What kind of a difficult position that Jonathan had to be in now that she was extracting his DNA and knowing that now, oh my gosh, now she's going to find out that he's not like everybody else.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I just think I do like this episode. I mean, like Ryan, last week, you know how we're talking about filler episodes? The episodes like last week were filler episodes. This is like this and Rosetta are the main storyline episodes where I'm just like, these are why they wanted to do, but like, you gotta sometimes do episodes like Rush and Visitor to get.
Yeah, you always got to do some filler episodes because you're doing 23 episodes per season on WB or CW when you're doing it on a network television show.
No, I admire what they did and I hated it. So
okay, start Roger Ebert clip now.
That I admire what he did, and I hate it.
Wanted to shout out Annette O'Toole also because John Schneider was great. She was just as good because she crushed.
Yeah, she it feels like she's not given enough credit with her performance in this, especially in this episode. Even when she had a scene with Jonathan when she was on her deathbed.
I just thought the whole thing worked in a way. I like the song at the end, by the way. They played that song, was a great song at the end they played.
Oh yeah. I do have that on my playlist. That
I don't know what the song is, but
I can't remember.
Find it, Ryan, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll put it in later too.
Ryan's my Shazam, so anytime he puts a song, I'll take a picture of it on when I'm watching this later, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go look that up. See me roam, see me climb.
Song find for the win, but let's go to ratings. Jacob, what about a 1 to 10?
I actually think this is about a 1. No, I like this episode. It's really good. I would say about an 8.
All right, Matt, what about it?
Yeah, this is an 8 out of 10 for me. Same score, dude. Like, this is a great episode.
You know what? We are simpatico. I'm going to go 8 as well. Everyone was just giving their all on this.
Everybody.
The dramatic heft was just felt. And really just, you really start to feel like in this season is like I said, filler episodes are now out of the way. Now we can get to like the meat and potatoes. Whoa. But the layers of the onion are starting to be pulled away more and more, and it kind of leads into the next episode where it's like this version of Superman finally understands like what all is going on with his origins, and so I guess that's as good a place as any to parlay into our next episode, which is season 2, episode 17, called Rosetta.
On the WB's New Tuesday, a legend returns.
I've been expecting you.
To unlock the secrets of Clark's past.
It's too dangerous, Clark.
What's wrong?
No matter what I find out, it is not going to change the way I feel about you.
Christopher Reeve.
You must write your own destiny, Kal-El.
What Clark will learn
Krypton
will change everything.
Can I tell you a secret?
A Smallville event.
Clark has some weird dreams with the cave and about flying, where he puts the octagonal key in a hole in the wall of the cave. He immediately learns how to decode the symbols. Then, while waiting for Chloe at the Kent's farm, his uncontrolled vision burns a symbol on the wall of the barn. Hey, we all have accidents sometimes. Chloe publishes the picture in the front page of the Torch, because of course, and Clark soon receives an email from a wealthy and prominent scientist from New York. Clark goes to New York and meets the reclusive and quadriplegic Dr. Virgil Swan, who tells Clark about his origins from the planet Krypton, his real birth name of Kal-El. Clark also finds another message in the spaceship which troubles Clark. Elsewhere, Dr. Walden finds the octagonal key left behind in the cave, and when he puts it in the cave hole, he gets hit with the so-called Kryptonian knowledge, which overloads his brain and ends up in a coma, which further fuels Lex's suspicions about the cave and Clark. Also, Lana considers moving out of Chloe's house to look for a place of her own. So the biggest takeaway to take away from this episode, like Matt brought up, Christopher Reeve guest stars in this episode, and yeah, it's just as awesome as you think it is. And to be completely honest,
and I remember you sent me a DM with a GIF with the chills. I was like, yeah,
that's what I got. And I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not like a super fan of the Donner movies. I respect them more than I like them, if that makes sense.
You can go to hell. They movies rock.
But Christopher Reeve is awesome.
Except for Superman 3 and 4. I don't care. You can shoot those up.
He crushed it in that role despite all the crap he had to go through with 3 and 4. But his role in this episode is very limited. Maybe that was because of his condition. I'm not sure. But he absolutely just it was a wonderful sight to behold. It felt like a passing of the torch from one Superman to like the Superman of the
it definitely felt like the passing of the torch with the old
scene?
Superman and the new Superman coming forward.
Did you see the scene in the credits where they're talking about the Christopher Reeve Foundation with Tom Welling?
I don't think it was on streaming. I don't think you can find it. You can find it in the DVD bonus features where they
usually
actually
on the
showed
DVD. They actually in the DVD on Smallville season 2 they had the thing at the end after that says executive.
The whole promotion
of the Christopher Reeve Foundation.
Yeah, the Christopher Reeve Foundation of Conquer Paralysis, because Christopher Reeve suffered from a neck injury because he got paralyzed from the neck down. And yeah, they promoted it with him and Tom Welling. They promoted the whole Christopher Reeve Foundation.
And I like.
I thought that was the touching for me. I loved it.
Please help us conquer paralysis.
Call the Christopher Reeve Paralysis Foundation at 1-800-225-0292.
Or visit the CRPF website at christopherreeve.org.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please call.
That was a great thing, like they did, which they said Christopher Reeve agreed to do it under three conditions. One, they make a donation to the Christopher Reeve Foundation, and if he would like Tom Welling, and the second would be like he would like to shoot this in New York, and the third thing I think was third thing was that they only have him for a day.
Oh yeah.
And so basically they flew out. By the way, they had a different director shooting the whole episode. And then
they had Greg Beeman. They had Greg Beeman to shoot the Christopher Reeve scene.
Yeah.
And then James Marshall was the one
shot
that
the whole episode,
the first half of the episode.
Yeah, Greg Beeman, they went and literally flew to California. One of the showrunners, I think it was Miles Miller and Tom Welling, and the director went to California with a ghost crew. Then they shot this whole scene, and then after they shot the scene, they sat there and talked for hours to where the nurse was like, if y'all do not leave now, I'm going to call the cops because he needs to go, do his treatment. And so he kept saying, no, I'm fine. And then like she said, I'm going to call the cops in 5 seconds if you don't leave. So they all had to say goodbye and leave. And so I thought that was really great, but he did say one nice thing to Tom. They talked about this on Talkville, but Tom Welling did tell Tom Welling one thing. I'm glad they chose you as Superman. He goes, I'm not really Superman. He says they didn't, and so he goes, well, you should be, I'm butchering it.
It was a really touching, especially they had that 10-minute behind the scenes featurette in season 2 of the bonus features, which I can definitely send you the video on your DM. But it was you just see how much he really had fun shooting with Tom Welling on set for that one episode, and how touching it was that they're giving us a little bit of an homage to the Donner Superman, and giving us the whole John Williams score, and seeing the torch being passed on in that episode, and him discovering his Kryptonian heritage. Now it's being open, and now he's starting to understand where he's coming from. And for Clark to come alone to meet Dr. Virgil Swan was a big step up, because his parents said that, hey, we'll go together as family. But no, I had to do this on my own. It's basically Clark coming into his own man and his own, do this thing on his own without any help. And I thought it was a great, and touching episode, especially they play the John Williams theme.
And they said that was really cheap to get too. They didn't think it was there.
I couldn't believe that they were able to get that score. I was like, oh my God, it brought me back to the original Superman movie. It was very nostalgia, but it was very subtling, and it definitely did a great job of paying homage to it.
Which they also, the reason, why they didn't, why they didn't bring the family because it would have been more expensive for John Schneider and Annetta to fly to New York.
It would have been more expensive.
Make up some reason why they can't go to New York.
They had to come up with an excuse. They had to. They couldn't afford them to fly them out to California.
They just made some shit up. Why? Like, oh well, I can't.
But it worked. But it did work, and especially at the end of the episode, where now he's a little overwhelmed by everything he heard from Dr. Virgil Swan, and then now he's seeing that now you can help me discover my Kryptonian heritage, and he opens up the key to the ship and sees the message from his father Jor-El.
Yeah, that ending is legit one of my favorite endings of this season, where he's like, I think I was supposed to conquer this place, and it's just. It like he kind of feels overwhelmed by it, and then John Schneider, of course, he has the moment of the episode.
Oh God, that moment is like, hey, even if you did misread it, even if you didn't, it's you who's going to have to decide who you are, not me, not anyone, not even your biological parents. You were sent here for the Force for good, but not for evil.
Maybe you did misread it, Clark, but even if you didn't, it's you who decides what kind of a life you're going to lead. Clark Kent, you're here to be a force for good, not a force for evil.
Well, how can you be so sure?
Because I am your father. I raised you, and I know you better than anyone.
That scene itself was so good. It was so believable for John Schneider to pull that performance, telling him like, hey, you have to write your own destiny, especially what Virgil Swan said earlier. You're not going to look for answers by looking at the stars. You have to find the journey on your own, and you got to write your own destiny. And that, oh God, I get chills every time I talk about this episode.
The Virgil Swan scene is so great, and also John and Clark and the cell is really great. Also, there's other things that happen because I forgot Christopher Reeve was in this episode for a while because he only has one scene in the whole episode. I even know they marketed it heavily on Christopher Reeve being in this episode. He's only in the one scene because he couldn't do it because of his inability. But and so which they said, I do like though that Clark waking up and Lex finding him on the road.
Oh yeah, when he blacks out and after he dreamt of putting the key on the cave wall, then he just wakes up in the middle of the road, and how convenient. And Lex shows up out of the blue and almost ran him over.
And nearly runs him over. I was just sitting there like, no brakes. Like, no brakes.
Did he not learn from the bridge?
Are we just experiencing deja vu from the pilot?
Where was he going? Coming from like a party?
Yeah,
a bar?
like at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, where was he coming from?
Maybe he was taking one of his trademark drives to clear his head, lest we forget.
I guess.
Also, I do like how earlier when you said that Clark finds a hole in the cave. I'm like, at least let's just be glad that it's not a hole in the men's room stall, because then Clark would probably try to put a key in there too.
Oh my God.
Oh dear.
Oh, for God's sake.
On that pleasant visual, let's talk about the rest of this episode, because surprisingly enough, there is more to it than just the Christopher Reeve stuff, though it does take up quite a big chunk of the discourse. Like Lex's scientist that he hires pretty much dies in this episode. Like, he gets information overload and he's just in a coma.
Well, yeah, he doesn't die. He's in a catatonic state right now.
Oh, he's not dead?
No, he's not dead. You just wait for him. He'll come back at some point.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
I like how the cave is calling to him, like kind of like in how in the Superman the movie, was calling the crystal was calling to Clark.
But also, it wasn't given that irritating ringing sound in the original film. But in this one, it was giving him an irritation ringing tone that the key was also calling to him, because he didn't have a choice, even though he was trying to avoid it, and his parents is encouraging him to not go after the caves again and not actually put the key in the cave wall. But he was putting in a tough position. Like, he has to put that in the cave wall. And that scene himself, when he actually does it, it was all glowing and stuff, and it's showing you the Kryptonian symbols circling around, and then the blast just comes right in front of him and just hovers up and just goes. I'm not gonna lie, that shot was pretty fucking great. That was a great shot, Rayo. I know what you're thinking.
That case.
He looked like he had a big Kryptonian orgasm right there.
It's like, oh yeah, that case shooting his load at Clark right there. That kid was shooting his load at Clark.
And we don't know at first. You don't know what the hell was going on, and then Lex finds him on the floor again, like conveniently timing.
Clark, what are you taking?
And then as he's going to the barn, he loses control of his heat vision, and he was literally drawing a specific symbol, and he can actually read it. And that symbol in the barn, it means hope.
Well, here it's an S.
I love that scene in the barn. Also, I like how Lex is suspicious of Clark. In fact, I do like that the whole thing about how Lex shows this piece of paper,
the family tree paper that Clark wrote down.
I hate that. I hate when he finds it because I'm like, he miraculously sees this piece of paper and guesses that it was Clark's paper on the floor.
Yeah, he didn't even see him throw that shit in the trash, or even tries to. He didn't even see him. He just walks right in the moment he walked out. The moment that Clark stormed out of there, he was on for only a second, and he just assumes, oh, what's this on the ground? Like, what the fuck do you care what it is on the ground?
Someone could have wiped their ass, used that as toilet paper.
You don't know where it been.
Someone wiped their ass and threw it on the ground. He goes, oh, there's shit on this.
Oh, Oh, yeah, look at that. I'm curious to see what this is. This must be from Clark.
What is this subject? It seems like just that they didn't really figure out how could Lex. And I would have made more sense if like Clark throws that in the garbage.
If he catches him throwing it and it tries to throw it in the trash from that moment, then it would have made more sense.
Coffee away and then he sees that symbols and he takes it. It would have made it more different. Instead, it's just he miraculously sees this paper, picks it up, and like Clark.
It was bad timing.
How would they know to deliver a package to Clark also?
Yeah,
but he would be driving all day around the city. All day.
Well, no, but also he probably was told to deliver the package in that specific location at the hospital. And Virgil Swan probably sensed that he's actually at the hospital.
He probably said, go to the Talon. He's not there. Okay, well, go to the Kent Farm. He's not there. Okay, we'll go to the high school. He's not there. Okay, well, then just go to the hospital.
And the package boy looks like every other like generic delivery boy that we see in movies and shows.
I love his excuse. It's a small town. I'm like, there are a lot of small towns. That's not an excuse.
Lucky for me, small town does his little smart ass remarks.
Also, we get a fine example of these writers clearly having nothing for Chloe and Lana to do.
I hate the fucking subplot again.
Oh god, that scene. That scene when fucking Lana just suddenly just looks up in her email and saw a photo of the spring formal with her and Clark.
This is about you violating my privacy. This office and everything in it is now off limits.
Oh, for God's sake.
Waste of my damn time.
And then then Chloe just fucking overreacts. That scene itself, like, why are we going back to this shit again?
I was just angry at the hypocrisy because I'm just sitting there like, hello, Chloe, you literally looked up Clark's birth records.
I'm not giving you an exclusive on my life.
You're not even curious that she might be your biological mom?
4 to 6 weeks later.
This is about you violating my privacy. This office and everything in it is now off limits.
Delusions! And he justifiably blew up in your face about it.
You were prying into his private life, so you're fucking hypocritical.
Black said the pot to the kettle.
I also really like it in this episode is like how Lex is telling Clark, aren't you going to open it? Because he was waiting for him to open it because he's like, Lex is so suspicious. Lex is literally like,
he's fucking nosy. He's so nosy.
I would be suspicious because I'm like, you were in the road. The doctor is comatose now.
Yeah, that's
literally true. Keep passing out everywhere. Your symbols on your barn. What the hell?
Yeah, he's going to brace suspicious. He's going to put 2 and 2 together.
Like the doctor says, why are you so obsessed with the Kent boy?
Because he knows more than what he's letting on. Like, put aside your ego and work with the boy, you moron.
I mean, at this point, like Lex has like that room in the Flash where Tom Cavanaugh goes in and looks up the future headline. He's got that, but it's a lot more involved.
Yeah, I would have just told Lex, like, I would have opened the package up, and I'm not gonna lie, if I was Clark, I would have probably opened the package up, and then, like I said, the symbols. I'm like, I don't know, this is some weird symbols. You want it here? I don't know, keep it. And then Lex is just, then I'll have another thing to keep. And then like Lex would probably be asking, why would he give this to you? I'm like, I don't know.
Then he'll start asking more questions.
Circle conspiracy theorist motherfuckers that went that to my barn. Maybe, I don't know. Dr. Virgil Swan. Then he probably would have figured out. It would have been crazy if after he left, Lex Luthor showed up with Christopher Reeve, and they had they were talking. That would have been cool. But I understand.
Well, I remember that Antony O'Toole, which she co-starred in Superman 3, that played Lana Lane in the third Superman movie with Christopher Reeve, and I remember her. She was on the Talkville podcast saying that, like, dude, I wanted scenes with Christopher Reeve, and it was very disappointing when we got him on as a guest star that I didn't get a chance to share scenes with him.
Well, only like 3 people got to share scenes with him. I mean, or actually
Yeah.
Tom only.
Well, no,
really,
it was just Tom and Christopher.
I really did like this episode. I think it's a really good episode. I'm not gonna lie that like you would be I'm thinking of what Ryan would say. Ryan would probably say you would be blind as a bat if you don't think Clark is at least a metahuman or something, because there is no freaking way that Clark is not, Clark is not just innocent in all this, because I'm like, there's no way, like Lex, I understand 100%. I stand by Lex in this episode. There's no way you were normal, Clark, because all the shit I seen today, there's no way Clark's normal.
Yeah, at this point, the case is not building, it is built. It is
Against
a full-blown structure at this point. It's basically a coffin on roller skates at this point, and it's going to lead to something just genuinely massive. But what's massive is this episode, because this episode is it's one of my favorites of the season. Jacob, what about it, 1 to 10?
This episode is a 9. You know what? Fuck it. It's a 10 out of 10.
All right, Matt, what about it?
Well, minus the whole Chloe Lana drama, but this is my favorite episode of the season, hands down. Like, this is the most rewatchability. It really pushes the forward of the story. It furthers the whole Superman mythos and his Kryptonian origin that we've all been waiting for a while now. So yeah, this is probably going to be a 10 out of 10. I mean, except with the whole Lana and Chloe drama. Ugh, that one we didn't need.
That one kind of knocked it down a half a point. I'm going 9.5. It was tedious, but man, everything else just hit home. Like Christopher Reeve crushed it, of course. Like everyone else just crushed it, of course. I love like the Kryptonian like mythos is now canon. We can stop tap dancing around it. It is now like Clark fully knows, and it is beautiful. So yeah, this is one of the best episodes of the season by quite a bit. But let's take not a steep dip in quality, but a couple steps down in quality. Not by much, but enough to be noticeable. It's season 2, episode 18, called The Visitor.
Stay tuned for scenes from next week's all-new Smallville. On the WB's New Tuesday, it's back. The first of 6 all-new Smallvilles. An outsider's mysterious origin.
There's a very strong possibility that Cyrus is from Krypton.
Raises dangerous suspicion.
This means I'm not alone anymore.
I've always wanted to meet an alien.
Smallville.
When the weird and lonely teenager with healing powers, Cyrus Krupp, what a name, claims to be an alien, Clark approaches to him trying to know his origins to determine if Cyrus is a Kryptonian alien or if he's just a crazy meteor rock mutant who thinks he's an alien. Meanwhile, Dr. Helen Bryce moves into Lex's mansion, but she realizes that her skeleton key opens all but one room. Lex eventually shows her the inside of the room to reveal his study work about the meteor shower and about Clark Kent. Also, Lana asks Clark to help her look after her sick prized horse, which Cyrus heals the animal. He also continues to claim that his biological parents are coming to take him away. So in the notes that you sent me, Jacob, you said that this individual looks like Eminem, and now I cannot unsee it. It is kind of weird, because it's like, I get why Clark would want to find like-minded people like him, but at the same time, I was sitting there like, there's going to be a reveal where this kid is like clearly like faking it, right? Even Chloe has a scene where it's like it might be magic, who knows? I thought that was seriously where they were going, but
I thought the kid was crazy.
That would have been a road to go.
I mean, for a moment I did almost believe it until Chloe revealed about the power trick, and then the part where he heals the horse. That's when I'm like, there's no way he's Kryptonian. There's no way.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that he has like that whole big structure built and is like, my parents are coming to take me away, and
the transmission tower.
Yeah, which how did he build that? Like, how long did it take him to build that?
It might have taken him for like months to build that thing or something.
Months? No, that easily years.
Does every nerdy guest star of the week get a new bully to go with? Like, seriously, it's like every nerdy kid, Sean Astin, or the kid, what was the kid before? Sean Astin. All of them every week they get a bully. and it's always a different actor that we've never seen before. Is a new. I'm like, is this like an action figure assembly line where you get like, oh, we got the nerd, now we got to find it comes with a bully.
It's
like
so typical.
week,
it's so cliche.
And these bullies are more insane because they're like the Stephen King bullies. They're like, this dude sets a fire, and then Clark blows up their truck. And just them believing that this dude has fire starter abilities like Drew Barrymore did. This kid literally, then they show up to tear up his tower. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? This kid literally just showed you he had powers, and you're going to fuck with him again? Are you stupid?
Well, to be fair, they found out that he tricked it, that he fooled them with the fire, but that
was the first time. But then the second time, Matt, the second time that Clark blew up their truck, and they actually believed he had powers the second time, because the first time, like, oh, well, you tricked us. The second time, like, oh no, he didn't trick us. He blew up our car. And the third time, they just show up and they're like, we're gonna get him. By the way, I laughed so hard when the dude broke his neck, and then the guy's like, I can fix it. And the guy's dead.
Yeah, but they were gonna tear down that tower. But they were gonna tear down that tower with him in it. Basically, you're about to create a manslaughter. You're gonna commit murder.
Yeah, I just laughed so hard that I was just dying laughing at the dude's broken neck. Goes, I can fix it. I'm like, no, you cannot. This dude is not like a dying horse. He's dead.
Y'all remember the episode when Whitney basically bottomed out mentally and joined up with that gang that they were themselves with kryptonite? Do you like those bullies more, or do you like these bullies in this?
I like those bullies more because at least they were fun. These ones are just like stereotypical Stephen King bullies. Which, by the way, I hope you like a gang like those, because in these next 3 episodes, you're gonna get a recycled fucking storyline.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
and another Home Improvement guest star.
Yep, another home. Yeah, you're right. Which is the older brother, the older brother in Home Improvement.
The other brother,
the oldest brother.
The other
Brad.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I just cannot believe though. Like, I just can't believe that. Like, also Lex gets girlfriend gets mad because she's made an article in a gossip paper. I'm like, you should know this by now. Lex Luthor, everybody, because everybody's gonna think you're a gold digger because you're dating a billionaire.
Yeah, what did you think that was gonna happen? Like, did you really believe that they were not gonna put up any tabloids and trying to make up gossip about you, since now you're dating a billionaire?
It just reminded me in the world. It just reminded me of that stupid scene in Spider-Man 3 where Mary Jane gets bad reviews and she goes to complain like it's Peter's fault. I'm
it's
like, how is that his fault?
Not about you. It's me. No, it's Spider-Man 3. It is about me, asshole.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that reminded me so much of like, you're just nagging. It's all you're doing right now. You're not really adding nothing to this. All you're doing is you're complaining about something that Lex had nothing to do with. And you're just like, oh, it's your fault. I'm like, how is it his fault? It's your.
Yeah. Again, they want to create another drama with Helen Bryce and Lex.
Yeah, like Dr. Bryce, you're dating like Lex Luthor, one of the most richest and most
controversial
people in this universe. Like, gossip magazines are literally baked into the cake with him.
Yeah, they throw a gossip about you and you throw a hissy fit.
Fragile ego, fragile body, weak mind, weak spirit.
You would not survive if Twitter exists.
Oh, yeah, she would not.
Imagine if it was in today's world, the social media.
She'd be writing all the comments. Be quiet. Be quiet. Be like a 15-year-old boy that's in her trolling her. I mean, it's like that scene in The Office where Andy gets a bad. Someone puts like in the comment section on YouTube that this dude sucks, and then he replies like, "No, I don't suck actually," and then just keeps going. And so it's like, do not read the comments and don't listen to them. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Also, wouldn't they have the kid under 24-hour watch so he wouldn't escape, or somebody help him escape? Because no one's watching, and Clark just goes in there and rips the things off and helps him escape.
That one scene really bothered me. No one's watching him, and he just walks out right of the hospital with his gown and his clothes, and no one's watching him in the hallway. Seriously? Yeah, they would have put him in a 24-hour watch. They're about to institutionalize him.
Yeah. Also, no one saw Clark catch him either. That one dude with the Cyrus. No one saw Clark catch him at all.
Apparently not.
No.
I mean, seriously, I'm just saying. Like, and I do like some parts of this episode. I like the opening song. It plays in like when they're in the science lab or whatever. I think that's what's called.
Yeah. They were in the tech lab.
Yeah. I like how it plays with it. I like how it plays with he an alien, or isn't he, healing I'm sorry, I got my notes all mixed up. Sorry. I like how I was playing the song. All right. I like how the story is playing around with, is he an alien or isn't he? Like, I thought that was pretty cool. And I also like the healing of the horse scene. I like how I love how Clark is reading Identity Crisis in a coffee shop and with Lex and Clark. And like, it feels like they really aren't acting because they're both smiling. And Lex is like, like it feels like Michael Rose is about to break.
It almost felt like they were breaking character. That's what you were saying, that they're trying to break character.
Especially when they stop and they both smile at the end. That felt real. Like that scene felt real. Like they just started both smiling, laughing at the end as they're about to leave the coffee shop. That scene felt so real. I'm like, they were not acting. Like Michael Roseman probably thought this was the stupidest lines ever, and he's like, I'm just gonna try to have fun with this line scene. And you could tell because anybody else, he probably would have just been like this, like Clark. I guarantee
put it on a serious face.
Instead, it's just like, what are you reading? Identity Crisis, Clark. And I'm just like, you can tell
it was like, oh hey, if you're an alien, would you go around telling everybody?
I like that because it just felt like Michael Rosenbaum being Michael Rosenbaum.
It just felt so. The scene felt a little bit more real. Like, how would you react in that conversation? Yeah, and not just be too serious about it.
Any other day, probably would have did it bluntly, like, "Well, Clark, aren't you doing this a little conversation?" And instead, it's like
a little bit not being too stoic.
Yeah. I also like that Lex's girlfriend's going into Luther Mansion with servers are off limits, and Lex being curious about the kid. Like, I like how he was just going around, like, like he was at this kid's place, like when Clark told him, and I'm like, you didn't believe him, but now you do believe him. Feels like, I don't know. I just thought I liked it, but I also didn't like it. But also Clark helping the kid from bullies, I thought that was pretty cool. I setting the dude's truck on fire, and I like how the episode does deal with a lot of mental illness. Like, it does deal with that.
It does tackle a lot of the mental illness because when Cyrus was a kid, like he was way too young to remember, and when he saw Clark's spaceship, with the way that he was drawn from his drawings, it was just this memory that he witnessed himself, and he carried on that memory and making it part of his own memory that he was the one who got crash landed in the ship and that he was the one who was an alien. It's just like when he was a kid. When you're a kid, you only remember bits and pieces, and you only remember what you wanted to remember.
I like how it deals also, with like Lex defending the locked room from his girlfriend. Like, I just thought that was really funny how he was just defending it, like, which I kind of agree with Lex. I'm like, yeah. She's like mad because every room she can go into but one room. I'm like, and then I like how he shows her that room at the end. He finally agrees, shows her that room, and it confirms her suspicion of like, I'm glad I did not show him the blood because this dude right there would have stole that blood from me.
Oh yeah, he would have done it in a heartbeat. Now she knows for sure what was in that room, that it has everything, that artifacts, that has everything that involves Clark, and that shows you that Lex is very obsessed with them, being a little bit more stalkery than usual. And he's trying to find a reason to believe with Cyrus that he is like Clark, that he is an alien. And the finding out that he's not, that kind of really devastated him. That now he knows that he's all alone because he wants to meet someone that he can actually be open and share it with, someone who is like him.
Yeah, it from the start of the show, it has gone from like, thank you for saving me, to who are you, to I want to know everything about you. So it's just been building and building and building. There's even like an animation of the car crash from the very first episode, or not an animation, but
it was a simulation. It was
simulation,
3D simulation,
which I thought was very cool. And just like, it rewards. I love the show. It rewards you for paying attention.
Do you remember that was the same simulation that Lex showed that to Roger Nixon?
Yes,
it was in the first season.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I think we covered just about everything. Like I said, definite step down in quality, but not by much. I think this was still pretty solid overall.
It was a Stephen King theme. It felt like a little bit more of a Stephen King theme episode, especially with the whole bullies and the fire starter with that parlor trick that Cyrus did.
Oh yeah,
at least they just didn't like physically like sexually assault him. That probably would have made it much worse because usually in Stephen King books, that's usually the big theme of it.
Oh yeah, but Jacob, or Jason, I guess I should call you. What's your rating?
I would say it's probably about 6 out of 10.
All right, Matt, what about it?
solid episode, not as good as the Rosetta, because it kind of went a little bit of where it was pushing the story further, then it took a little bit of a step back. So I'm going to give this thing a 7 out of 10. So it's still a solid episode. It's not
Very
one of the
generous,
worst
Matt.
episodes. Yeah, I am.
Very
I'm
generous.
nice like that.
I'm going to go 6.5. This is strong in parts. The bullies I did not care for. There was some parts I definitely did not care for, but I do like I said, this episode rewards you for paying attention. It kind of seeds that were planted earlier starting to blossom. So like I said, the show rewards you for paying attention. I love the spirit of that.
But I will say another highlight that I forgot to mention in the end of the episode when Clark was talking to his parents, he was questioning, like, Cyrus had a chance in the moment from his point of view, he had a chance to leave his own world, but instead he saved a bully. Like, why would he do that? And then Jonathan responded to him like, because he's just like you have the humanity in you and to do the right thing, even if they don't deserve to be saved. Even though he didn't really say like that, I'm just paraphrasing from what he was saying to Clark. But yeah, that really got me from that moment.
That ability to do the right thing was taught to him. It wasn't built in, it was shown to him, which just galvanizes it even more. But yeah, all three of these episodes had at least one thing or go, yeah, that was really good. Massive step up in quality. But we're only like a few episodes left in season 2. Excuse me.
By the way, I gotta comment on something saying there is only a couple, like, so once we do the watch along, I think next week, then we might have to do, or not watch along, but once we do the review for next week, we might have to do 4 episodes, because if we're gonna watch along the finale, because then we'll only have 2 episodes if we do. So we're gonna have to do, I think, 4 episodes next week.
Well,
I think it's next week.
Well, we only have 5 episodes left in the season.
So we're gonna have to do 4 episodes, and then the 5th one we'll do a watch along.
Are you guys willing to do that many?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, wow, 4 episodes. Whoop-de frickin' do.
All right then. Well, I guess making an announcement now. Next week's Small Talk episode 15, airing on November 8th, will be a kind of a megasode, reviewing all of the season 2 episodes left, except for the finale, which will be a watch along. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. It'll be dropping at the usual time. And if you did like this episode, leave a like, comment below, subscribe to the channel. I want to thank Jacob and Matt for doing this every week with me. It is always a blast to do. This is always just a favorite time of the week for me. Like, watching the episodes by myself is cool, but then getting to talk about it, that's what makes it worth it. So Jacob, I'm grateful for you and for all that you bring to the show, and for and just a bit of a backstage note, Scary Mania ended today, and he created the great intro for all of the videos. So I wanted to thank you personally for doing that. That was very
no problem, buddy.
Tell the people where they can find you. Don't say
that. I will say one thing before we leave. Sometimes a hole in a cave is just a hole in a cave, or maybe not. So don't stick your Peter in it. Okay, thank you. I just thought of something funny from last week. Imagine if a thing bit a guy's penis on the hole, and then his penis would be trying to commit suicide the whole time, like a possessed. Remember from Evil Dead where Ash's hands possessed? It'd be like a possessed. Yeah, it'd be like a possessed penis, and it's just trying to kill itself.
Look at Sam Raimi. I want to see that.
Like, cut it off! Cut it off!
You know, Raimi would make it work.
He would make it definitely work.
He could.
Actually, he's probably like the next Evil Dead movie. Guy's penis gets possessed and he cuts it off. All right, check mark. I was like, we'll make it work as long as it's not Bruce. Bruce is like, I'm not doing that scene. You got to make it someone else. I'm not doing that scene. All right, but yeah, you can find me on 3D Movie Cinema on my YouTube channel. I just, as this airs, dropped my collaboration review with Jacob Martin for House of 1,000 Corpses. And he hated it because he said this was a movie. He's like, why? I hated this movie. He hated the movie with a passion. And I liked it. And so, yeah, that's our review for Friday, which by the time this airs, it'd have been Friday. And yeah, I got a couple of reviews coming up. So Yeah. So by the time this airs, I will have shot those reviews too. So that's where you can find me. And also Camp Crystal Lake. I'm also killing some people today on Camp Crystal Lake, and hopefully everything goes well, and so that way I can hopefully a lot of premarital sex is happening, so I can use this machete to take care of that. And also, if you can say you love my mom, Pamela. So,
well, 2 words for you: hydrofluoric acid. But Matt, thank you so much for doing this every week. It is so much fun. Thank you for all that you bring. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on my social media links. The link tree will be down in the description down below. And you can find
my
YouTube
too.
Yeah, exactly. You got me. And you can just you can also find my YouTube channel. It's easily in the link tree. So I just uploaded 2 my reviews, one for the Halloween horror special with Final Destination, and I uploaded Killers of the Flower Moon. And there's gonna be a few new videos that I just recorded that will be uploaded soon with the movie Frailty with Bill Paxton and the 2003's Texas Chainsaw Massacre and David F. Sandberg's horror film called Lights Out. So be sure to keep an eye open. I will be uploading those very soon, and I hope you guys have a great Halloween. And because I believe that October has gone by so fast, and it's a privilege to be on Ryan Camp's channel and to be part of the Smalltalk. And I was also a guest star on a Scary Mania video called The Faculty when we covered it a week ago, which I had a great time talking about it.
Yeah, and I want to thank everyone for checking out Scary Mania 4. It ended earlier today. It was easily the biggest and most successful Scary Mania view-wise that I have ever done, and I cannot thank you all enough for checking it out. Views and stuff, like, they're nice and all, and I do obsess over them from time to time, but I do this as a passion. I do this as a hobby. But to see just the love for even like the obscure ones, the ones that are like, I don't know how this one is going to go over, but actually went over quite well. Watched a wide array of horror from really great to just really bad. Like from the peak.
Sleepaway Camp was really good, and then Hellraiser was really bad.
From the peak of Lake Mungo to the toilet that was the town that dreaded sundown and everything in between. It was a lot of work. But I thank you all so much for checking it out. If you checked out one video, great. If you checked out all of them, I know some of them did. That's even better. So I appreciate all of you so very much. We're in the month of November now. It's all about Scorsese month. I'm going to be reviewing The King of Comedy, The Wolf of Wall Street, The Departed, and Casino. All 4 of them I have never seen up to this point. I'm 3 of them.
Really? You're shitting me.
That is a fantastic movie.
As of this recording, I've seen King of Comedy, Casino, and The Departed. I watched The Departed for the first time the other night. It was fantastic. Have not seen Wolf of Wall Street yet.
I'll watch that. That's a great film.
And I did mention in my Killers of the Flower Moon review that The Departed is my favorite Scorsese film of all time.
Yeah, that one.
Like people were like, they gave the Best Director award to Scorsese for that. I'm like,
and that movie won it won Best Picture. It won Best Picture.
It's excellent.
It's an excellent movie, which it was also a remake into that foreign film called Internal Affairs. That's the one.
Yeah.
I look, Wolf of Wall Street's really good too. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, there is a lot happening in that movie, especially
that movie was so funny and so chaotic and bonkers.
I'm not gonna lie, you need to watch that movie. It's so good. It is so good.
The only thing I know about it is a scene where Leo does this big speech where he's like, if I were to choose between poor and rich, I choose rich every fucking time. And then there's a scene where Margot Robbie apparently like shaved down there, and she's like, no touch.
That was the first appearance for Margot Robbie before she became famous.
Yeah, Margot Robbie famously said there's a sex scene between her and Leo where they're doing on a bunch of $1 million bills. And she said it wasn't the fact that she was naked, the fact that she got cut by the money and had paper cuts all over her body. That's what she hated most about it.
Ow. But yeah, that's all throughout the month of November. It's going to be every Friday in this month of November. So stay tuned for all of that. Then my Christmania series, 25 Christmas reviews for the 25 days of Christmas. That's in December. But a lot of content coming to the channel, and as always, Smalltalk every Tuesday. But for Matt Wyatt, for Jacob Collins, my name is Ryan Cam. We're coming at you with 4 episodes.
Motherfucker! 4!
It's a step up. More like a step up.
Not this 3. Not no pussy ass 1. Not 2. but 4, motherfucker, 4.
We're coming to you with 4 reviews next week. But
and I can't wait for us to get together for another watch party for the finale of Smallville.
Yeah, absolutely. But for Truth, for Justice, for the American Way, we will see you in the next one. Y'all take care. Happy Halloween. Watch out for Jason.